a discourse with you on this very platform. My name is Udwak Daniel, and this is Eagles Outlook, where we talk politics and current affairs. Amidst all of the munu that's been going on across Nigeria, there is a countdown to 2027 where Tinubu is to pick a new INEC chair this week. And if I'm not mistaken, I thought I saw an updated version where it says that a national commissioner at the Independent National Electoral Commission, May Agbamuche Mbu, has taken over as the acting chairman of the commission. Okay, and this is following the formal handover of duties by Professor Mahmood Yakubu, who's proceeding on a terminal leave. And just to also put it out there, that Mr. President has also convened national honors on Professor Mahmood Yakubu. Now, police pensioners are also rallying for protest after talks have collapsed between the police and the government. Yes, this is in view of the fact that they are saying they want their own structure in terms of salaries, pensions, and all of that. There should be a different structure, just like the military and the DSS are enjoying. But we don't know how far that will go. But also, we have seen where Mr. President has taken a very decisive move to refuse assent to two recently passed bills from the National Assembly. Now, he was warning that certain provisions could weaken fiscal discipline, conflict with existing laws, create dangerous precedents in public finance, management. But the rejected bills at the Nigerian Institute of Transport Technology Establishment Bill of 2025 and the National Library Trust Fund, Establishment Amendment Bill, These are the two bills precisely that the president refused assent to, And, okay, so there's a lot. I just want us to have a little bit of everything that's going on. 90% of tax revenue goes to state governors. All right, so FIRS Chair Adedeji is saying that 90% of state revenue goes to state governors. All right, so you know where these revenues are going to, where these monies are indeed going to. Oh, well, we saw this one too that really got a couple about waggling, and got also some people really vexatious. They were so vexed that they could not even hold how vexed they were emotionally. The certificate forgery allegations and why Minister Geoffrey Naji had to resign. He had said that people are against him, that there is a propaganda against him, and that he will rather just take a bow. But Mr. President has accepted his resignation, though. Okay, thank you for your service, wishing him well in his future endeavors. And it really, really brings us to mind the place of, Mr. President is thanking him, all right? And shouldn't he be nabbed already? But it's not the job of Mr. President. Besides, he has not been found guilty by a court of honorable jurisdiction, in this case. So it is all right to say that it is still an alleged case. Now, why am I saying all of this? I'm saying all of this to prepare us that in view of all of these things that's going on, there is a section of the people that has been, so to speak, quite vocal, but in recent times have been seen as though they are without teeth. That talk about a dog without teeth, a lion without, jaws and stuff like that. Yes. And that is the fact that it always boils down to you and I. When all of these happenings are happening in the high echelon, what comes down below, it's not even the infighting or the fighting that's going on. It's not even the corruption. It's not even the allegations here and there. It's not about the judgments here and there. The real truth is that these actions and inactions at the high echelon of power, at the leadership level, they always find a way to shape the mindset, the thought process of the average Nigerian. Even down to our hometowns, where you like to call villages. Now, who are the people who are mostly dependent on those in the urban areas. Now, these are our siblings, our brothers, our relatives who are, living within the hometowns. Even while they are there, there is still a civil service going on in our respective states where we come from. Now, I'm talking about labor in Nigeria. Labor. Because NLC is seeking justice and fair treatment for workers on decent work day. NLC, Nigerian Labour Congress, now is seeking justice and fair treatment for workers on decent work day. Maybe we should not focus on all of these political stories just for now. We should focus on ourselves. The Nigeria Labour Congress has called for justice and fair treatment of workers on decent work day. The NLC President George Aero emphasized that workers' rights and welfare must not be compromised. He also went further to cite the importance of decent working in achieving true development. Historically, though, the concept of decent work has its roots in the International Labour Organization, that's the ILO, the Declaration on Fundamental Principles and Rights at Work, adopted in 1998. Now, the ILO defines decent work as work that is productive, delivers, wait for this part, it's very important now, delivers a fair income, provides security in the workplace, and offers social protection for families. That, my dear friends and brothers and sisters, is decent work. So whenever you're talking about a decent work, you look at it mirroring into it using the perimeters that I just outlined right there. And this is based on the ILO, International Labour Organization's submission on the principles and rights at work. So if it is productive, oh yes, it is decent. If it is delivering a fair income, it is decent. If it is providing security in the workplace, it is decent. And if it is offering social protection for families, it is very decent. But some would question now, in the decent work that we have in Nigeria, do we have all of these factors embedded in them? A little wonder. In Nigeria, the labor movement has been advocating for decent work and workers' rights. I mean, with the NLC playing a crucial role in promoting these ideals. Now, you should recall in 2024, the NLC directed its members and states that we're yet to commence the implementation of the new minimum wage to commence an indefinite strike. Beginning from December 1 or 2, thereabouts of 2024 now. I mean, that directive was part of resolutions of the NLC after its National Executive Council NEC meeting at the time. But here we are. Again, if you also recall, sometime in this year, not too long ago, not too far off, the NLC again had begun an underground conversation talking about an upward review of the minimum wage. And Nigerians had come at the NLC saying, we've not even been able to see 70,000. You're already pushing for a higher review. But what be that as it may, we have seen the fact come out on print media to telling us that Mr. President, the Senate President, and key politicians at the National Assembly's salaries were very low, that the last time it was reviewed was in 2008, and that there is need for an upward review for their salaries to meet the socio-economic realities that we face today in Nigeria. Now, the NLC's call for justice and fair treatment of workers is not even new. Now, the labor union has been advocating for workers' rights and decent work for decades. However, though, the recent dispute between the Dangote refinery and the oil and gas workers has brought the issue to the forefront again. Now, the NLC is condemning the company's actions. The NLC is also alleging that it violated workers' rights and freedom of association. Let me just revamp your memory a little bit. Over 800 workers allegedly sacked by the Dangote refinery for joining a union. That's Pengason. Losses in oil and gas production, power generation due to the strike action. So for every cause, there is an effect. For every action, there is a reaction. And when we do have a reaction, there is a counter reaction. And a counter reaction. And it goes on and on and on and on and on. But who bears the brunt of this? Oh, it is you. It is your family. It is my family. It is me. It is my brother. It is my sister. It is everyone that we thought we loved or that we loved. Everybody bears the brunt. A fight for one Nigerian is a fight for all Nigerians. But then again, this discourse will be going on a very interesting path as our guest, Comrade Gerald Okachi, who of course is very well versed in matters that concern, issues like this, will be adding his voice very quickly in the discourse this morning as we also examine some of these thought lines as they come. Now, he's a human rights activist, a public affairs commentator, a social analyst, and conflict resolution expert. Comrade Gerald, it feels good to have a second run with you. I mean, after yesterday, today we're having another conversation towards nation building. Welcome aboard.
Thank you for having me. Very good morning to you and to our beautiful listeners.
Right. Now, decent work. The concept of decent work is what we are looking at. And the NLC is already coming out strongly, being very vocal this time. But decent work actually emerges from it has its roots with the International Labour Organization, ILO's Declaration on Fundamental Principles and Rights at Work, and it was adopted in 1998. Now, by definition, decent work is saying that for you to say you are working decently, right? It means that work has to be productive. It has to deliver a fair income. It has to provide security in the workplace. It has to offer social protection for families. Over the time, Comrade Gerald Okachi, can we find all of these factors in the Nigerian sphere of decent work in most organizations here?
Yes, that was a very powerful question, all put together that I'm sure more than 1 hour, less than 1 hour cannot be able to begin to dissect.
Right.
And that is why in the speeches of the NLC president, or NLC in particular yesterday, while they were celebrating Workers' Day, they consider some speeches made by the vice president as national tragedy. And it boils down to the crisis of governance when strong individuals, are being considered ahead of institutions. Those things weaken institutions. The recent outcry, by the NLC marking the World Day for Decent Work offers more than a labor dispute. It exposes the deeper problem of the Nigerian state, the dominance of strong individuals over weak institutions. The Congress declaration that Vice President Kashin Shettima describing Dangote as a national asset constitutes a national tragedy. Is a powerful indictment of the country's governance culture. We have 4 refineries that are not actually working, and private refinery, is being considered a national asset. When power protest privilege, suggesting that Dangote deserve more special protection, even in the face of alleged labor laws violations or disputes, strikes at the heart of Nigerian constitutional order. It implies that wealth, political access, or strategic importance can place an entity above the law. And no wonder why we are where we are. It's beyond human comprehension with the kind of democracy or push or quest for good governance we have today, that we personalize things, In every functioning democracy, institutions, not personalities, upholds justice. But in Nigeria, the reverse is often the case. When a senior government official appears to justify impunity, it emboldens others to floor the laws or the rules, weaken the moral authority of the state, diminishes public confidence in the rule of law. That is why you see NLC describing the comment of Vice President as national strategy. It's both moral and factual. It signals how deeply entrenched the culture of elite exemption has become. This self-mentality thing. Nigerian governance crisis has always revolved around the imbalance, the strength of individuals versus the fragility of institutions. Law exists, but enforcement depends on who is involved. So I was writing a press statement, yesterday when I saw that the vice president's speech. But due to my numerous interventions that led me to one division that took all my day, I couldn't finish it. But when I saw the statement by NLC, mine was, I was like they pour water on, because if comments like this go unchallenged, honestly speaking, it strikes at the heart of our laws.
You mean statements from the vice president or the
yes.
NLC? Okay.
Yes. Yes. This personalization of power breeds inconsistency, corruption, arbitrariness. Institution that should regulate, inspect, and enforce compliance from. In fact, it negates the work of the Ministry of Labor to the NNPC, anti-corruption agencies, often bound to political and economic interests. And that is what we are facing today. That comment, renders the work of Ministry of Labor, renders even the likes of law enforcement agencies like EFCC, because once you see interference like this, it weakens the moral to fight. The Dangote case is only the latest symbol of how powerful figures can bend the system. When laws protecting workers are ignored or suspended in favor of corporate power, Nigeria signal that this is not governed by rules or law, but by relationship. No wonder our refineries are not working. No wonder. The comments illustrates the consequences of weak institutions, decades of corruption, political interference, and patronage, which have turned what should be national assets into liabilities. Instead of centers of productivity, they become centers of rent-seeking, used to fund patronage, networks through inflated turnaround maintenance contracts. This rise of private refinery led by Dangote has now created a difference, by equally risky dynamic without strong institutions. Nigeria risks replacing public inefficiency with private monopoly. And that is why you see, just a few days ago, we begin to see queues with regards to cylinders, people buying gas, inadequate fuel supply, just because of this monopoly. When government officials describe one company as a national asset, deserving special treatment, it reveals a dangerous dependence on individuals rather than a system that encourages fair competition and compliance. Honestly, it's an unfortunate statement,
but comrade,
and it shows lack of accountability, which threatens or to undermine the promise of economic reform that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has embarked upon.
Well, comrade, let me ask you a question, and I'd like to bring this into a family system. A father has 10 sons, gave them all the same opportunity, and one has decided to use his opportunity and became the star of the home. And because there is a standing law somewhere, the other 9 sons decided to use that law, capitalize on it, just to diminish the light of the only son who is shining. As a father, what are you going to do? What are you going to do exactly? Aren't you going to...
I don't think that narrative captured the situation. First, let me make a better narrative.
Nobody's stopping any other person from getting a refinery. No other person is stopping the NMPC refineries from working. We are the ones who are stopping it. So if I come and invest in a country and you want me to shut down?
UD, look at the better narrative to this.
No, let me get the better narrative.
Yes, I'm answering you now.
Yes.
You have a family, a couple, and you have children, and you have house help. And perhaps as a parent, you fail in your responsibilities to bring up your child in the way and manner it should grow.
Okay.
Maybe you come back, see your children protesting, informing you that your house help inflicted a lot of injuries on one of your child.
Okay.
You know, in the name of trying to tear the body, broke bones and everything. Rather than you as a parent, instead of, trying to protect that your child,
you take sides with the house help.
You take sides with the house help. That is the pure narrative here. It's not issue of a father having 10 sons, one is doing shining. No, he has. That is not at all. You have your own state-owned refineries that have engulfed billions of dollars.
Okay.
That they have done us what today in the Nigerian society we refer as Yahoo Yahoo, just like they did with Nigerian Air. They will come every year and say it has started working, it has started working. You left your own that you're supposed to protect and ensure productivity, and you are embarking on a private one and calling national assets. Thereby, what are you trying to imply? Because it's a dangerous statement. A dangerous in the sense that if Nigeria is to reverse this decline, it must deliberately shift from personality-driven to a system-driven model of governance. That means upholding the rule of law without fear or favor. No individual or company should be above the law. We should empower institutions like the Labor Union, the Ministry of Labor, the NNPCL Limited, and anti-corruption bodies with true operational independence and not interference. We should ensure reform to industrial policies to prevent monopoly and promote genuine competition, protecting workers' rights as an integral part of economic policy and not nuisance to it.
All right, so
strengthening civic oversight through labor unions, civil society to keep both accountable, and not the kind of comment we are getting. Vice President Shetima's comments may have been made in good way, but it symbolizes or exposes the rot in Nigerian governance structure. A nation where powerful individuals often appear mightier than the law. This mindset explains why the refineries lie dormant, why exploitation thrives, why the dreams of decent work remains elusive. Until Nigeria builds strong institutions that at least personalities, what we continue to command more respect than labor And that is what we are seeing.
So,
How can work command more respect than labor? And impunity will remain the real national asset. The NLC rebook should therefore be seen not as an attack, but as a call to conscience. A reminder that no nation can develop when the laws serve the powerful instead of protecting the people.
Okay. All right, comrade, let me put a peg to your thoughts, because when we come back, I'm going to ask you if from your narrative, you're saying that there is a lot of Dangotes out there that the very institution of governance in Nigeria is weaponizing, and what your fears or the implication of it might be. But we'll just go pay some bills. We will come back in a short bit, and we will indeed engage this discourse very well.
No offense to the commercials. It's just that we want to see other audio.
Eagles 102.3.
Abuja, get ready for the move of God as Christ Embassy Abuja Zone 1 invites you to a night of the spiritual tag Pneumaticus Night with Pastor Enoch Wama. Date is Friday, 7th November 2025 at Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Abuja. Time 8 p.m. Don't miss this night of the Spirit. Prayer, worship, miracles, impartation of grace, and demonstration of the power of God.
There will be buses in all major bus stops and locations.
For more enquiries, call the number 0704 450 9567 or 0808 825 5790. Get ready. One word from God will change your life forever. Powered by Christ Embassy Abuja Zone 1.
Any motor where you dey drive, you need confirm protection, no. For your engine, no. Make it mobile, no. Make it mobile, yeah. Anywhere you dey, your motor deserve to be number one, yo. Make it mobile, no. Make it mobile, yeah. You carry the go, make everybody join me, say. Make it mobile,
make you go with the best.
Make it mobile.
Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us. This is Eagles Outlook, where we talk politics and current affairs, and this time we are with our guest, who is in the person of Comrade Gerald Okachi, and we're looking into the NLC seeking justice, fair treatment for workers, and decent work days. This to mean, according to the thoughts and the submission of our guest, that there are sacred cows that the federal government is probably protecting for one reason or the other, due to their incompetence. Could that be the case? Would you also say that we have indeed arrived at the stage where workers in Nigeria can proudly beat their chest and say that, well, they've been able to indeed be beneficiaries of what the Decent Work Declaration on Fundamental Principles and Rights at Work is all about. I mean, which borders around looking into matters that border on having social protection for your family, having security in the workplace, having delivering on fair income, and all of that, being productive or having productivity as its watchword. Well, we're still connecting with him, but we will open the phone line so you too can give your thoughts in the matter this morning. I mean, have we arrived at place of decency at the workplaces in Nigeria? Is there more that needs to be done? Is the NLC just blowing the roof or throwing tantrums for nothing? Could this be the real issue that is faced by the civil service in itself? The fact that people are not finding decency at their respective places of work. Is that what it is? Is that the solution to Nigeria's problem? Well, I mean, there's a lot involved, but some would say that issues like this, you might look at it as very minute, very little, very insignificant, insignificant, but they are the same issues that compile and they form a compendium that makes, policies at the high echelon of power. Well, number is 0907-353-0044. Once again, the number 0907-353-0044. Let's go take this call. Hello, good morning.
Morning, you.
Good morning to you, Moses. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Talk to us, Moses.
I appreciate your guest over there.
Yeah.
And that question you asked me was supposed to use an illustration of a family.
Right.
All families, you can never get them the same. No matter whatever you do, everybody has its own potential. One thing I want to know is that, one thing I want to communicate to this country is that if Dangote, as a son, is sitting in this nation, will come on to invest in this country, it's a plus for the nation.
Right.
It's a plus for them, for the government to appraise him and to encourage him. If it is not the issue of cabal, corruption, for a person like Dangote to succeed in this country, under insecurity, under cabal, and corruption, this is the three things I've mentioned. It's one of the challenges. These are the challenges facing corruption, insecurity, and cabal on the earlier sector. If this man can struggle, he starts losing hope to come up with his own private or refinery. This man should be appraised. Apart from the oil sector, he's into other factories, which we know. He has added value to the citizens. Many Nigerian citizens are working under him. Point out many industries owned by the government. Corruption has brought it down. You got it? So even the foreigners cannot come to this country to come and invest. So to me, I have seen what Dangote has done to improve our economy. It should be appraised for. I had many other countries calling him to come and invest in their own country. I knew how we suffered when we import fuel from outside. I knew how we suffered when they said the rising of dollars, the rising of fuel. I know how we suffered when there was no fuel in our filling station. But since when this man came, we begin to have lead. So it's supposed, in fact, the man has added value to our economy. So what I'm saying here is that they shouldn't frustrate that man. They shouldn't frustrate. It's our son, and we are proud about him. So if we can have people like him, almost 5, I believe our economy will be stable.
All right, Moses, let me also ask you, do you think that we have attained the level of decent work? Because I think one of the fears is that should we begin to have sacred cows like this that are almost untouchable because we deem that they have been able to impact one way or the other, that is what is indeed spoiling and destroying the very fabric of Nigeria as a country? That's the bone of contention, actually, right? But anyways,
I think this man, he understands the system.
Okay.
Yeah, he understood and understands very well the system, and he knows how to play the game.
Okay. All right, Moses.
So before, it's just like when you want to get a secret of someone in your family, use somebody that is in the family. He tell you the secret of what is going on in that family.
Okay, Moses.
Yeah, I read my case in this. That is the secret. He knows our secret. He knows how to deal with our secret. He knows how to judge this corruption. Okay. Why is it that most of the companies that he owned didn't close down? Right. They are effective. Look at our government companies. Most of them closed down. Foreign companies. Look at our textiles. Most of them closed down because of corruption. But this man was able to understand the system, and he used his own system as an indigene to overcome in his own wisdom to work out to make this work out. So if somebody is working and we are getting positive results, we need to appraise him.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Moses. Moses says if somebody's working and is having positive impact on your economy, in your life, you need to appraise the person. Comrade, I'll get through with you in a short bit. Let's just go hear from yet another family member.
Yes, hello.
Yes, good morning to you, please. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yes, good morning. My name is Eugene. I'm calling from Abuja.
All right, Eugene.
Um,
Eugene, hello. Where in Abuja are you calling
yes.
from?
Sorry?
Where in Abuja are you calling from?
Calling from the airport road.
All right, talk to us. Go ahead.
I think it's very important the Nigerians should understand what work practice is all about.
Okay.
Now, it's good to state clearly that nobody is against what Dangote has done in building a massive refinery for the country. It is a business, as a matter of fact, and one, it's going to serve the Nigerian public. Again, it's also going to generate profit for him. So let's understand those narratives. He is a businessman and he wants to make profits from his business. And Nigerians also want to derive the services from it. Then let us understand, just like the topic about today, fair work practice. There are people working in this organization, and the refinery is a high-risk work zone. The oil and gas. Now, this is the first time Dangote is going into the oil and gas sector. And there are unions guiding operations in the oil and gas sector because, one, it is a high-risk work zone. All that the union I know about is talking about is the ability to engage with the management. The workers have a right of unionization. Now, one of the things that these unions do, or one of the things they do or they achieve is this collective bargaining practice, which they have with the management of organization, and it's all about talking about the welfare of the employees, the ability for them to voice out as one and say, look, these are the things we would want you, management, to do for the employees so that everybody will be happy in the system. I don't think it is a wrong thing for people to belong to an organization or to a union that can have one voice and bargain with the management and say, look, these are fair work practices for the employees. If you are suppressing that, then there is something that is hidden in your own agenda. If you don't want your employees to be able to bargain with you and say, look, we need an improvement in our welfare system. There are allegations here and there. Nobody is really there. But perhaps some people talk about PPEs and all those practices, that the work practice in the organization is not really what it should be, like the topic you're talking about, in line with ILO. So I believe nobody is against Dangote. But the thing is that he should also allow the employees. Now, looking at the work structure, looking at the balance in employee Nigerians and non-Nigerians, and you know also the standard of some of these Indians, the way they work, the way they put people to work. If you are following the trends in the country, sometimes they don't want employees to voice out. They don't want them to say anything. They just dish out whatever they want from the management sector, from management to employees, and they do it. So I don't think that anybody is really, really against Dangote. So what I expect, even the government, which I commend the DSS, I commend the National Security Advisor on the way he was able to sort everything out. But then there are new narratives coming up right now trying to blame union and put everything against unions, which doesn't really look right.
Right.
So let us seek for a balance. Yes, right. Dangote is encouraged. Then also, there should be fair work practice for the employees. You can't start 800 people and everybody should just go home and sleep. Are we all not Nigerians? Somebody should be able to speak out. Okay, so what I'm trying to say in essence is, for us to have a fair work practice, there is need for people to look into the welfare of employees in Nigeria. Nigerians aim very little. What Nigerians aim is not really able to carry them. And there is need for these things to be spoken about. So that, because if you also want to fight corruption very effectively, then you need to give people work and take them home. Otherwise, they will be doing things, sharp practices, and you'll be making a living. But then the country will not move well. So if you go to the Western countries, people get paid. Okay. And that also motivates them from any kind of sharp or corrupt practices.
All right, Eugene,
thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Eugene, right there. And Moses put his thoughts together. Eugene, give us the directive to, Comrade Gerald, there is quite a lot to dissect here. Because whilst Moses is saying that we should encourage, those who have been able to take the risk of investing, in our country, and we're seeing the brighter side, from this action. Eugene is saying that, look, What about the other sacred cows like Dangote, who will be weaponized, emboldened? Talking about foreign investors who are in Nigeria, having Nigerians as staff, and ripping them off of any rights whatsoever to make demands, to negotiate with the organization for fear of nobody knows. What are your thoughts? I mean, how do you wrap all of this together?
These are the issues, and oftentimes we have seen and there been a lamentation of how foreigners treat Nigerian workers. It is a fact, and we collectively come together. That is where the hypocrisy comes in. You understand? I don't believe where a company begins to blackmail a union just to have his way, because that is what that is the summary of all that has played out between the union and Dangote. Is pure blackmail. And we have seen that antecedent in the past where maybe Boas Mate or one other competitor would want to do one thing, and you see comments, press releases, painting it look like you are a state, whereas you are the real issue. Let's not take away the fact that Dangote is the businessman. Mm-hmm. The refinery in question was built by Nigerian workers. Dangote didn't just carry his money and go to Lake and drop it, and the refinery just boom. There were 80% of workforce there were Nigerian workers, aside expatriates. So all of a sudden, of all the dangers, hazard situation they find themselves, because they want to have a voice. You want to stifle the voice that is enshrined in the Constitution, that is our supreme authority. Come on, how did we get to this point? How did we get here that we allow monopoly to override our ideological positions? Nobody is against Dangote. But if it's not put in check, if it's not guided, you will see more of this coming up in near future. Of course, we have more than 7 refineries that are coming up from different private companies. So if you do not put it in check, honestly speaking, it's a time bomb that will set us up. It becomes this normal casual system that we have seen in the past, that organized labor have fought tooth and nail hard to see that we put in check. You send people to high-risk work that after working the next 10 years, the effect of that work, the chemicals and other will begin to have adverse effects on them, and you never take care of them. When you see maybe they are getting weak in the work, you sack them because they are casual workers. No pension, no security, no social protection. And you employ another youth. That is one of the things that destroys the nation.
Right.
Rather, we should have encouraged the union. The union have the most interest of this. That is why I give thumbs up to those that did intervention on the matter. When they came on board, they saw the genuineness, what the union are pushing, and they protected it. If it's not a genuine call, you would have seen those who did intervention, including DSS, be on the side of Dangote, and over 800 workers would have lost their work, which will impact on thousands of families. At the end of the tomorrow now, you will still go and seek votes of those people you are not protecting their interests. I don't think that there should be any reason why we should be even consider making Dangote a national asset. If you don't know the meaning of that, it then means you are other refiners that doesn't have the capacity of Dangote. You have thrown them, through the window. They will not have the same competitive environment with Dangote. As of today, where Dangote situates his refinery is a free trade zone. Mm-hmm. As of today, crude oil being supplied to him are sold in naira, not in dollars. And when they refine and send abroad, he sells in dollars. So how else do you support somebody to grow? All the necessary tools that are required both morally, socially, politically, have been given to him.
Maybe the protection is not about Dangote. Maybe it's about the shareholders and the stakeholders in that refinery, which, of course,
that is why I said that is what even exposes why our refineries are not working.
Right.
Interferences like this.
Okay.
That informs why we have more strong individuals than institutions. It reflects like this.
Okay. So what will be
we should have institution that is stronger than any individual.
Yeah, let me take this message and you just give me your one-line thoughts, in this. I mean, you've been given preferring solutions as you were talking about the issues and all, but then this one is coming from Lion Boy from Local Goma. Good morning, Udwak. Thank you too. Says, you remember when this same Pengason wanted this same thing they are doing now during the General Sani Abacha era. You know what Abacha did to them? He said, I miss Abacha, in his words. Udwak, you are a staff of Eagles FM. Would you not abide by the rules of Eagles FM? If you want to join any other radio station union, then resign from Eagles FM or face sack. That is what is happening between Dangote and Pengason. I can't have a company and my staff will belong to another company union. Dangote has really helped and it needs accolades. Okay, that's what Lion Boy says. Yes. Yes.
Can Eagle FM walk away from NBC and regulators?
Nope.
So what are we saying? Can you say, okay, before you are giving license to work,
yeah,
and you abide by A, B, C, D, you get internally, you decide to jettison those things that prompts the licenses or a certificate given to you to operate.
Okay.
That is the reality. So it appears like most Nigerians don't understand the realities on ground, and that is where sensitization and education, and thank God for opportunities like this to make it clear.
Okay.
You don't come to, okay, I want to register. In registering, I will abide by the rules. Maybe if the government say minimum wage, I must ensure that the least workers under my watch will be paid minimum wage. I will ensure the rights of the students to assembly is protected as enshrined in Nigerian Constitution. I will ensure that this and that. I will ensure that I respect Nigerian Constitution. And you get home and you let them know that forget that thing they say there. No minimum wage for you. Look at what, and if you say me, you are gone. I will deal with you.
Okay.
That is what played out. So nobody should begin to bring such narrative. And then it appears like there's this saying, Africa Day, that said that a bird that is in a cage sees the others flying as if they are sick. When you are too long in a chain or in a cage, whenever freedom approaches, it seems as a threat. And whenever you cut a tree, it's not when it dies. Many Nigerians who are aligning with this kind of blackmail to unions do not understand the damage that will cause. And if we do not put in check, if unions do not stand their ground, when the boomerang will come, we'll start blaming one another.
All right, let me put a peg to your thoughts. Let's just take this message coming from Honorable Edwards from Apple. It says, good morning once again. Good morning to you, Honorable. It says, please let this cabal leave Dangote alone. We have suffered a lot in their hands. All right, God bless you too. But we see this other message coming from JJ from Piakasa. It says, Dangote borrowed money from our banks and banks abroad to build that refinery that a whole country like Nigeria couldn't do. If MTN decided to give free airtime to its users, would Glow get angry and say MTN must not? Why are we selfish in this country? What monopoly? Dangote bought that land in Lagos for over $700 million from the Lagos state government. All I'm saying is that the federal government should come out and sort this amicably so that there would be peace and progress in Nigeria. Thank you, he says, JJ from Piakasa. But before you also add your voice to that, we take one more call and then you get a right to response. Hello, good morning. Hello? All right, I guess the network playing tricks. Well, in finality and in response to some of these thought line, Comrade Gerald.
Yes, just like I said earlier, every entity has its rules of operation.
Yes, please.
And you can't accept rule of operation, just like what is happening here today. I'm sure if Dangote refinery is situated or to be built in any country, these things that we are facing today will not be facing it. While it's and telling on people is because that Dangote is a Nigerian. If Dangote wants to be a foreigner or bring investments, and maybe because workers decide to join a union so that they will have their voice, it will not be a situation whereby you look at the statement they issued in sacking over 800 workers. When they were given employment, they were given employment individually, their name were captured. That is to show you how they value Nigerian workers. Their names were captured, position and what have you. But when you want to say all, it goes to tell you how you place. As of today, look at what is happening in our construction companies. You go abroad, you see workers when they are going to site, the kind of vehicles they use to take them to site and return them, how they are being treated here. The kind of vehicles they use to take our workers are like the one that used to carry cattle and the cows.
All right,
that's because of how we place the values we place to our people.
Well, comrade, we won't go any further anymore. I mean, we overshot the time, but thank you. I mean, can't go any further now. I mean, it means that we've not really aced, or we've not really arrived at a very good and convenient work space where we can say the Nigerians are indeed enjoying decent work. And there are calls, or this conversation is basically or mostly about the need for a consolidation for better work experience for every Nigerian, right? If I understand you correctly, right?
Yes.
Well then, thank you so much, Far Too Kind, for your voice in this discourse. We appreciate.
Thank you for having me.
Right. And that's the voice of Comrade Gerald Okachi right there. I mean, enough is said, enough said. There's no need to go any further. But yes, nobody is against any, investor who is doing good for the country. But then again, there is a reason why unions are institutionalized, and they are very constitutional. All right, and it will also be nice to look for a level playing field, but then again, prioritize the needs of your citizenry, the Nigerian citizenry. So you don't think I'm talking about another country's citizen, Nigerian citizenry over any other entity. All right, no room for fat cows. That's just what it is. My name is Udwak Daniel. Appreciate your time with us too, and for adding your voice in the discourse this morning.